Good afternoon on this difficult, horrible day in America. How painful, how sad, how sorry that in 2022 we could witness such a massacre of so many young and innocent. As a father, someone who teaches, someone who has a 9-year-old, a 3rd grader, it was all asleep yesterday, reading the news, seeing the images, and thinking of all these parents, 19 sets of parents who won't be able to hug their children, who won't be able to embrace them, who won't be able to kiss them goodnight. There's one story that stuck. There's one story that really shook me, which was of Alexandria Rubio, whose mother writes on Facebook that day they had a ceremony for the children at this public school. And her 4th grader was an honor roll A student and also got the Good Citizens Award. And after the event, her parents hugged her and kissed her and said, "We'll pick you up after school and we'll celebrate this special milestone in your life," without even knowing that that would be the last time they saw this girl. How could we go on? How could a nation that's so powerful and so strong be able to be defenseless for our most powerless people, our young, innocent children? How do parents who have to tuck in their children at night and hug them and embrace them explain something like this to a young child? How could it be that there are more mass shootings in 2022 than there are days? How could it be that we have 27 shootings in schools since the beginning of 2022? 19 children. In this week's Torah portion, the Torah tells us, if you follow in my ways, in my laws, then I will bring you blessings. There needs to be responsibility. There needs to be laws. There needs to be actions we do to receive the blessings. As we always say, you can't keep doing the same thing every day and expecting different results. I send my son, Levi, to the butchery to shop. He can't buy a bottle of wine. A bottle of wine he can't buy because he's under 21. Yet an 18-year-old boy could go into the store and buy 2 rifles, 2 machine guns. How could that be? How could that make sense? Republican, Democrat. How could we continue as a nation without having an honest discussion, not about politics, but about the future of our children? As a rabbi, as someone who's witnessed anti-Semitic attacks, as someone who's come under it, I totally understand and appreciate the right for a responsible, moral human being to be able to protect himself and carry a weapon. But machine guns? 18-year-olds? No background checks? Why can't we come to the middle? Why is everything in this country so politicized and always extremes? If it's abortion, if it's gun control, it always takes extremes and always falls along political lines. But this is our children. This is our future. How can we send our children to school the next day without saying that we have an honest discussion? In this week's Torah portion, we read the laws of Erchin, which means the value of a human being. And the Torah discusses a monetary value. If you pledge the value of yourself to charity, how much are you worth? And there's many discussions what the Torah is insinuating to us with these laws. But if I could only say that as human beings, the Torah is telling us that we have to evaluate ourselves. We have to have an honest discussion with ourselves. Are we being truthful? We have to have an honest discussion with ourselves. What are we worth if we're not able to protect our children, if we're not able to take a stand, if we're not able to be real, to be authentic? No parent should ever have to bury their child. Never, ever. We go through so much to save a child who's sick with cancer, heaven forbid, or anything, or in a car accident. We'll turn over the world to save them, and we should. A parent should never have to bury their child. Yet here we have 19 children being buried by their parents, by their communities. Thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of children in trauma, all because we can't be honest with ourselves. An 18-year-old buying machine guns? Yes, of course we have to discuss mental health, and of course we have to discuss gun violence in Hollywood and in movies, and of course we have to discuss crime by guns that are gotten illegally. Yes, I understand all the buzzwords. Chicago has had 286 deaths this year, murders, mostly by illegal guns. I understand that, but it's not a contradiction. We need to do all of it. We need to deal with mental health. We need to deal with illegal guns. We need to deal with criminals being released from prison because we have weak judges. We need to deal with gun violence. We need to deal with mental health, and we need to deal with gun violence in Hollywood. And we need to deal with our children and the souls of our people and what we're teaching them. But we cannot run away from the fact that in our country, out of all Western civilized countries, this is happening more than anywhere. And that we have to have fair and balanced ways to protect people's rights, but also to protect those that are most vulnerable, our children. There are no words. May God comfort these beautiful families. And may we pray for these 19 beautiful little children and their 2 teachers. May we love and hug and embrace our children every day. Never take a day for granted. And count your blessings every day when you're able to love and hug and tuck in your children and take them to Little League and take them to Celtics games and Red Sox games. Don't take it for granted. But when we also speak up with a loud and clear voice, saying enough is enough. As a country, let's come together, not take different sides, not make this about politics, but let us dig deep into ourselves and see, what are we worth? What is our value? What are our laws? Who are we as a nation, as a country? God bless you. Sending so much love to all of you.